guys. We didn't take a picture, we didn't video when you guys were up there speaking. Okay, so now we can go now. Mary Barneby, who is the CEO of Connecticut Girl Scouts. For me, this is thrilling. Mary Barneby is something of a mentor to me personally. This is the third year of Mary coming to speak to us and give us our kickoff session. Mary, as you know, so who here is in the Girl Scouts? How many Girl Scouts do we have? Much, about a third, I guess. Okay, very good, very good. And how many of you have heard of the Girl Scouts? Everybody, right? Okay, so you know that the Girl Scouts is in fact a girls leadership program and has many opportunities for leadership and development. And later on, Charlotte is an example of, where is Charlotte? Our other speaker is an example of a Girl Scout who achieved the highest role that you can have in Girl Scouts. She won her Gold Award. She'll tell us a little bit about that later. But going back to Mary Barneby, she has been a volunteer leader with many organizations. She is actually on our advisory board. She is what we call an ex officio, which means that she helps advise us, but she does it without having to come to all our meetings. So I am now going to turn it over to you, Mary.
Very excited to hear you're all going to give that money to charity, because that's really amazing. And you know, Girl Scouts also likes to get contributions so that we can do cool things. So remember us when you're giving all that money away. I do want to say something to all of you. I love the way you supported each other. I thought that was really, really great as you kind of came up and presented together, and I saw a lot of support. And I think that's something that we as girls and women do very, very well in helping each other to be our very best and succeed. I think you'll see more of that as we go along. Well, I am very, very, very excited to be back. This is the third year of this program, and I want to say something that Liz has done such an amazing job. It was a vision for her. It was something that she saw was very, very important in our country, and she made this happen. It's really an amazing thing to see somebody take a dream and an idea and make it happen, and I hope that all of you will be inspired by that and learn from that. And I do want to say that the work that you're doing here is really happening at a larger level in our country, because in the last election, so many females, so many women stepped up and did the work to be elected and really made some real significant changes in our representation. So this is really a great movement. So let's take a look at something. So what do you think about this? There are actually more women than men in the United States. So if you look at the population, 51% of our population is female and 49% is male. And so that's pretty interesting. As we talk a little bit more about what does that mean in terms of people who represent us in political offices and in our government. If you take a look here too, we have a 51% majority in the population, but yet if you look over the country and you take a look at this chart, you can see that in our state legislators. Remember, we saw the picture of the Capitol building in Hartford, Connecticut. That's for all of our state legislators, the people that represent you here in your town, in your community. That's where they go to work on our laws and to work on policies for our state. So if you take a look at it, if you look at the whole country, even though the population of the United States says that more than half of the community in the United States is female, and that might differ in your town a little bit, only 29% of the state legislators have women representatives in them. So that's a pretty interesting thing. 51% of the population, but only 29% of your representatives. If you look at Nevada, it's a little bit high, it's 52%. If you look at our own state, it's a little bit better than the national average, it's 33%. And that's really a big improvement, because a couple of years ago, it was only about 27% here in Connecticut. So a lot more women in our state are stepping up and are actually saying, I really want to represent my community in the state legislature. If you look at Mississippi, though, what is the number up there? 14%. So, you know, if you lived in Mississippi, you have a lot more work to do to make sure that women are represented in the legislature. Now, every state has, well, how many governors? Anybody know? How many governors in each state?
5?
No, actually, only one. There's only one governor. We have a lieutenant governor who's kind of like second in command. But if you look at it, we have 50 states. And how many governors do we have out of all those 50 states? Women. 9. So that is a pretty small percentage, right? So when you think about Connecticut, we have, who doesn't even know who our governor is in Connecticut? Do you know? Ned Lamont is his name. It's a man. But the lieutenant governor, who's his next in line, is a woman, and her name is Susan Geisowitz. And I'm actually know Susan pretty well, and I think at some point, if she's successful in her role, maybe she will be a governor someday, or somebody else. But of all the states in the United States, including Guam and Puerto Rico, only 18% of the governors are actually females. And again, remember, how much of the population is women? 51%. So keep that in mind as we go through this. If you look at our federal government, that's in Washington, D.C., 24% of our Congress, which is the House of Representatives, and the Senate, on average, is female. So again, 51% of our population, but still only 24% of our representation. So in the Senate, that's 25%, in the House, it's 23%. But it's better, it's getting better. We see so many more women who want to represent us. It doesn't matter what party you're in or who you promote in terms of your own political views. We just want to see more women representing us. I love this picture because who kind of knows what we're trying to say here? Do you think? Yes.
Well, let's say that like from women and men it's like the same, like they're all kind of like dogs, you know, they're the same, they're no different.
Well, yeah, we're saying like, let's say you're a cat, right? And dogs are making all the decisions for you. Would that be fair? Yes.
So what it's actually saying is that, so dogs are like more popular than everyone like talks about how good dogs and like dogs man's best friend. But cats over here are just sitting and like some people like cats, but most people like dogs the most. And it's basically saying like the men are being replaced by dogs and the women are being replaced by cats. And dogs, they're really like they're more popular.
Well, yeah, I think we could go with that because what we're saying here is that let's assume that all the people who make the laws are men, but 51% of the population is women. So let's pretend that the dogs are the men who are in the majority, and let's pretend that cats are in the minority. Here we see that, there should be more representation of diversity around that table, right? We should see diversity. Maybe we should see many different animals around that table, right? Because we want to see diverse ideas and diverse opinions. And you don't want one group making decisions that are going to affect another group if that group doesn't have the right to participate, right? Does everyone get that? So, who knows what this is? Did anyone learn about this in school? Okay, yes. Right, and what happened with the Boston Tea Party? Does anyone know? Yes.
The Americans needed tea from the Boston that had people like to show because of the tea tax they were unhappy with.
And why were they unhappy about it?
Because it was taxing all of the things that were important to them.
And anyone else want to add to that?
The taxes were higher, so like they had tea, and the tea was like a lot of money because of all the taxes. So they're throwing the tea off the boats to show how they don't like taxes and they're
Yeah, well, taxes are not always fun, but we have to pay them, right? Because it's how we keep our communities going. But the reason that the Americans, the people who settled in America, who weren't really Americans yet, they were British, they were really settlers here, they decided that the taxes weren't fair because why? Because they had no, yes,
because they might not that they could make their own choices.
Good point, yes.
I also want to add to that because the taxes were being used for their own good. They were being used for Britain's own good. They were like helping Britain instead of helping Connecticut.
And what happened was, whatever you're saying is correct. They did not have, the people here in this country did not have equal representation. They didn't have a say in what Britain decided to do. And that was the other point we're making, that they were being taxed by these people overseas, but they didn't have any say or any voice in making those decisions. And that's what we're talking about right now, and saying we want to have more representation in terms of the people that make our laws so that it reflects more of the population that we live in. Yes?
Also, when I look at that picture with the American vote, I only see men on that vote.
That's true. Back in those days, that the women didn't have much of a role in terms of some of the things that were happening in terms of the government. In fact, it took a really long time. We're going to talk a little bit about something that's very important coming up in 2020. But let's think about what makes the difference sometimes. And you can't make generalizations because everybody's different, right? We all have different personalities. But sometimes you can take a look at facts and statistics, and you can say that in general, sometimes there are differences between the way men and women review things. And these are some of the things that are, when you go back and do some research and you do some studies, you can say that if you look at it, in Congress, women tend to be more collaborative and bipartisan. And that really means that we hear sometimes in our country that the Republicans and the Democrats can't work together, and we call it polarization. They're not able to work together. And what we want to really see is how do we work together to change the things in our country and the laws, and to make the changes that are really important to the people that they represent. So in general, women can be more collaborative. Women tend to support policies that protect women, children, and social welfare. So they care about things like education. They care about things like healthcare. They care about things like some of the issues around justice, social justice. They sponsor more bills. So what does that mean? It means that they actually take the time to say, here's a change that we want to see in our country, in our laws, and they work hard to try to get that change pushed through so it becomes a law. And they take a lot of time and do a lot of work to make sure that they're doing that in a proper way. And in the state, we're seeing efforts here in our own state so that women can get paid equally for the work that they're doing, as long as that work is the same as for a man. And recently there was a law change in our own state around equal pay. What would happen sometimes is if a woman or someone else might go interview for a job, let's say the job paid $25,000 a year. That's how much the person doing the job should get. But let's say someone went there and a woman was only making where she was working before at $20,000. And so she went to the person that was hiring her, and she or he would say, well, how much are you making now? And she might say, oh, I'm making $20,000 a year. And then the person might say, oh, good, I don't have to pay her $25,000, I could pay her less. So now there's a law in our state that says you can't ask somebody how much they were making somewhere else, because that really is not fair. You have to pay them what the job is worth. And everybody, now let me ask you a question. Do you think it's fair that people should get paid to do the same work? That should be paid equally? Do you all think that?
Yeah.
Let's say a dog was making $25,000 and a cat was making $20,000 and they were doing the exact same job. Do you think that would be fair? No. So I mean, that's the kind of issues that we think are really important for women to stand up for. And they talk about safety. We want to make sure that there are laws that protect the safety of people. health, and also their well-being. So these are some of the issues that women, whatever political party they're part of, these are important issues. They're family issues, and that's really important. So, what issues are the most important for you? I heard some of that when you were talking about what you wanted to do with your $1 billion. And so, look at some of these. Does anyone want to pick any of these that they think is really important? Because some of you, and hopefully all of you, are going to be doing political campaigns this year. We're going to ask you to say what's important to your platform, and that's your political platform. So, who wants to look at any of these and think about which ones might be important? Yes.
Equal for all.
And what does that mean?
It means that everyone should be treated the same way, boy or girl, dog or cat.
Good. Fair and fairly, right? Yes. What about you? Did you have one? Yeah, we want to make sure that there's ways for people to, all people, and I don't know the answer to that, I wish I did, on how to make medical care accessible to everyone so everyone can be healthy. Is there anything else on there? I see you over there.
Respecting the environment is important.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of talk right now, especially from young people, about what can we do today to protect our environment going forward so that we have a great environment. You all live in very beautiful towns. I live in a beautiful town right by the water. And we have to be concerned in our town about what will happen if there are more hurricanes and there are more issues that are around the sea level rising and hurricanes and all of those things. So we all have to start today to think about what we can do to control and make sure we keep our environment safe for everybody. What about you?
Good education is important.
Yeah, you know what? Education should be available to everybody, and that's something that really changes our society, right? When everybody has access to a good education, they can really lift themselves up out of poverty, they can make a difference in the world, and they can pay their taxes, which is good for our communities, right? So that we can keep our communities strong. Is there anything else anybody thinks is an important issue? Well, I think they're all important, actually, and I think that's the challenge you sometimes have when you're involved as a government leader, because you have to figure out how can we do all these things and how do we make it work. And I think that's the challenge there. So you have to be a good multitasker. So, why don't you think more women are elected to office in government offices? What are some of the things you think happens with women? Yes?
Well, it kind of all started back then when women were only considered housewives and no one respected them, and so a lot of the biases back then are still happening right now.
Well, sometimes women themselves, I heard one of you talk about wanting more self-esteem from this experience. Sometimes we don't think we're good enough, right, to take the role of leaders in our communities, and I think that's really, really important. We underestimate our leadership potential. I heard something the other day that was a very interesting statistic. Like, let's say you were going to interview for a job, and there were 10 things that you had to be able to do, so 10 requirements for that job. If women have 9 of them, very often they won't interview for the job because they don't think they're good enough. Or if a man has 4 of them, he'll say, yeah, I think I can do it. I think I can grow. And that's something we have to change ourselves. It's not the fault of anybody else. We just have to recognize the value that we have and that we can bring to society. And I think, that's my phone, I'm sorry. It's a nice ringtone, isn't it? Time?
No, you have a question back here.
Oh, I have a question, I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry.
I don't have a question. I just wanted to add that I read this article a while ago about the word bossy and how a lot of times when young girls are taking charge of something, they'll be called bossy, but boys are never called that. They're just seen as leaders. So that also adds to people not thinking of them.
It's a societal bias. You're absolutely right that we say if a girl is a leader or wants to take a leadership role, she might be told that she's bossy, whereas it's more natural for boys. And we have to stop. Back in the Girl Scouts, we had a campaign a few years ago called Ban Bossy. We didn't want to use that word in any kind of a negative way because we really wanted girls and boys together to be able to experience being leaders. So thank you for sharing that. Sometimes women, men sometimes really want to be leaders and they have a strong view of wanting to hold public office. But women have to be passionate about motivation. So I'm not saying it's not pure what men do, but what I think for women, it's like, I want to see a change. I really want to see a change in whether it's healthcare or family rights or social justice, or I want to see equal pay. So sometimes it's really something that, a cause that she wants to see change that really makes her decide that she wants to run. And sometimes you have to be, and as all politicians and people in public office know, you have to be able to go and knock on doors, and you have to get people to vote for you, and you have to raise money. So sometimes those are difficult things to do, because sometimes women are very busy taking care of their families, and or working outside the home, and they just don't have the bandwidth to do all of this. So, what's going to be a very special thing next year, 2020? Does anyone want to share? Yes. Sorry.
We will get a new president.
Yes, we will. That's a big deal. 2020 is a very big year. You'll have a new president. You'll have a presidential election. You'll have the census. You know what the census is? Well, that's when the government goes out and they count all the people in every town in the country, because they really want to know how many people we have and different things about their background. But the third thing that will be big is...
It's the 100th anniversary of women having the right to vote.
Yeah. And when was this country founded? Does anyone know the year? 1776, right? And 1920 is when women got the right to vote. That's a long time, guys, right? It took them a long time, and the women who really led this were they called suffragettes, and they really sacrificed a lot in order to get the right for women to vote, and that happened exactly 100 years ago in August of 1920. So it took them 70 years of hard work and being out in the public to really try to get the law changed, and it's called the 19th Amendment. So I think you're going to see there's going to be a lot of celebrations going on in different towns, and the most important thing to remember is how hard women fought to get the right to vote, and it's a very precious right. I think that everybody, so you can do a great job this year with your families and your friends and your community, and encouraging people, men and women, that if they're not registered to vote, go out and register to vote, because it's really important that we have a voice. And for women, it took them a really long time to get to that point. So I hope the Girl Scouts are going to be celebrating all of next year, and I hope that all of you will. I know this program will probably focus a lot on how important that is. All right, so it's really, as we said earlier, we're starting to see some change. This happens to not be any kind of a special slide to show any people that we support or don't support. But you can see that there are we have also, this next year, more than likely, the current president will be running for his party. But what you'll see is in the Democratic Party, which is the opposing party, there are several women that are actually raising their hand and saying, I would like to win the nomination of my party so that I can be a candidate. And we haven't seen this in the past. This is really a big step forward, that more women are stepping up and saying that they really feel that they have the skill and the qualification to represent us as our president. So this is really something to watch as the year goes by. So, this is really also a question for all of you, because you don't have to be an adult to change the world. And who knows who some of these people are? Does anyone know who they are? Yes.
The person in the middle.
Yeah, and what is Greta out there doing? Yeah, she's a 16-year-old girl who believes that that young people should be raising their voices so that everybody will begin to look at how important it is for all of us to to pay attention to what's happening in climate. And then you can see here, this just is something that these girls did just in their own island. They are, doesn't have to be, it could be in your own town. They're just 10 and 12 years old, and they started campaigning so that on their island where they live, that they would get plastic bags banned. How many of you now go into the supermarket and bring in your cloth bags when you go in, right? Boy, see how we can change and see how just the work of young people can make a difference. I have a little bracelet on here that I love, and it says one girl can change the world. And this is about Malala. Does everybody know who Malala is? Malala was one girl who wants to tell me who Malala is? Yes?
She's a girl who stood up for what was right, and even when she got shot on a bus, she kept working, she kept going, even though people didn't like her sometimes, or people could be threatening, she wasn't scared. She kept going and fighting for schools to open for girls.
Because in a lot of countries, girls are not allowed to go to school, and she was making a statement for education for girls, and was extremely strong after what she did. So I want you all to know, every one of you here, you have the power to make change in your communities and in your world. And you don't have to wait to run for office when you're an adult. You can actually start now. And I think a lot of you will be talking about that issue as you talk about your campaigns. So, this is the end of my comments. And now we have a very special person coming up to speak to you. And that is Charlotte Anglade. And Charlotte is what we call a Gold Award Girl Scout, which means she earned the highest award in Girl Scouting, because she did an amazing project for her community, and she really made a difference in her world. And she's a very busy girl right now in senior year of high school, getting ready, but still finding time to come here and volunteer. Charlotte, why don't you come on up and tell the girls all about you.
Hey guys, so I am a senior in high school this year, and so I actually, like she said, I completed my Gold Award for Girl Scouts, which is very emotional, which is the highest award you can win or achieve in Girl Scouts. And so, and some of you guys are familiar faces. This is my third year doing the mentor program for this program too. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about what my project was. Okay, so the steps I had to take to earn my Gold Award. So I chose to focus more on mental health in teenage girls. So I am a teenage girl, and this was a prevalent topic in my life, because as a teenage girl, especially in high school, I know what it's like to be stressed or anxious about schoolwork and stuff, and I'm sure you guys will know that too soon enough. But this is I chose to focus on this, and I actually had already had a connection with the organization I worked with, which some of you might be familiar with, and it's Family and Children's Aid in Danbury. And so I had done my silver award with them, and so I had already established a relationship with it, and I had connections there that were great resources for my project. So I discussed with them what I could do to help and how I could connect it to mental health in teen girls, and I ended up finding out that there was a girls group home that had a room that was kind of run down, wasn't really used for anything, so I decided to make it a space where girls could go to calm down, de-stress, listen to music, write, and just make it a safe space for the girls to go when they were feeling, that stress or like maybe sad or something like that. So, and a lot of these girls also, I should mention, that Family and Children's Aid, a lot of the people that go there, they come from difficult circumstances. So a lot of that can lead to mental illness. So this was a good way to kind of incorporate a nice place for them to go when they were feeling those emotions. And so then I found a way to share it with my community and the people around me by creating a website that kind of had everything I did for the project and all the research that I did that could help people who did have mental illness or how to just encourage a healthy lifestyle too, which can make you happier. So I'll go more into detail with my project now. So, like I said, so I run renovated a room for a group home for girls. And so the first thing I did to kind of start my project was I had to research ways on how I could make this a room that would actually do the job and calm down girls and make it a space for them to relax and just do like yoga, journaling, just different little things like that that can keep your mind off of more stressful things in your life. So I did that. I used some resources like I said before, so I actually spoke with a yoga instructor and an interior designer who both helped me to figure out how I could decorate a room and make it so that it is calming. So I talked to them about different colors I should incorporate into the room, and then the yoga instructor helped me figure out what different supplies they would need if they wanted to do yoga, and she also helped me with essential oils, which are a great way to kind of relax. And so after I did that and I kind of had formulated a plan, I had to actually execute the plan, and to do that I needed all the supplies. So I gathered donations and I raised some money for new furniture and new supplies like art supplies, word searches, journals, different stuff like that. And so once I had done that, I had to clean the room and execute my project. So I decorated the space and I transformed it, and yeah, I did the job and I got it all done. And we actually made a little library. I worked with a foundation that was willing to donate brand new books to the program. And not only did they donate brand new books, they donated double copies of all the books that I had requested, which is amazing. And then the last thing I did was I built a website. And so the website, like I said, it had just different ways that you could address mental illness, or you could, relax and, kind of combat those stressful or anxious feelings that girls tend to get. And that was my project in a nutshell. So how does this connect to you guys? So that was something I did where I had to take the leadership role. And, I'm 17 years old, and actually when I created the project, I was 15, 16 years old. So you guys are young, and so am I, and I was still able to, create and formulate a plan to combat an issue that I felt was prevalent in my life. So you guys can do it too. And I know, how many of you are Girl Scouts again? So the next thing for badges. So badges are a great way to encourage you guys to get out in the community and learn about the issues that you guys care about. And so if you are a junior Girl Scout, then you are actually eligible for the Inside Government badge. And if you are a cadet, then you are eligible for the Finding Common Ground badge. And pretty much it. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much. So those of you who are Girl Scouts, yes, this program, we make sure that you do the steps that are needed to achieve those badges, okay? But what about the rest of us who aren't Girl Scouts? Everybody gets a badge. So everybody at the end of the program will earn this patch. It's called the Fun Patch. And so everybody will get to go home with a badge for the program. One of the things, Charlotte, you are being very modest, so I'm going to be a little less modest for you. You really need to see Charlotte's website. So I'm going to show you girlsdestress.com, right? I just went there the other day, and Charlotte created this. Look at that. And hang on a second. Over here, you can read about a healthy lifestyle. And hang on a second. Reading and hobbies, yoga and meditation. She did this. How cool is that? At age 15?
I started the project at 15. I finished it last spring, so I finished at 17.
So anyway, I encourage you guys to check it out, girlsdestress.com. I'm sure we can send it to your parents in a follow-up. But anyway, thank you, Charlotte, for taking the time to share that with us. Okay, I am going to turn this back over. Oh, we have questions? We ask questions? Oh, we did that. Yes, right, we do that. I'm going to turn it over to Mrs.
Well, do we have questions?
Sure. Do you guys have questions for either of our speakers? Maura, go ahead.
Is there a website to see what the room looks like?
I don't have pictures of the group on the website, but I do have before it was not pretty at all by any means. It had like smoking posters up. There were like old beanbags with holes in them. They had like ancient books of all sorts of genres. I mean, there were like old SAT books. There were just like all of this stuff. And so I basically took all of that out, and I used the donations I got and money that I raised to kind of buy newer like artwork, I guess, for the walls. And then I also, like I said, so the foundation was a huge help because books are expensive. I didn't raise enough money to actually purchase the books on my own, so they donated brand new books, and I'm sure you guys have read some of them. I mean, we had Harry Potter series, the Percy Jackson series. We had, I don't know if you guys know Wendy Mass. I know that was like big when I was younger, but and we had a whole bunch of books. Then we had like classics like To Kill a Mockingbird. I don't know if you guys have read that yet, but we had all sorts of books, and so those we were able to use to create like a little library for the girls. And we had taken so the what do you call that, a bookshelf. We had taken a bookshelf that they had already had, and we repainted it because it was also a mess. It was kind of falling apart, so we kind of fixed that up, repainted that, and we put all the books on the bookshelf, and that was like kind of one corner of the room. And then in the other corner of the room, we were able to buy a like kind of like a lounge chair, and Family Children's Aid actually had connections with Bob's Furniture, and so we were able to get that on a discount, which is great. And then we had new like lamps and stuff, and we had gotten donated yoga mats for the girls to use. We had gotten donated essential oils, and yeah.
That's impressive. Well, maybe you can share pictures with us.
I don't believe I have pictures on the website.
Well, we want to thank our speakers today. Thank you for coming. You are very grateful to you.
Just to be here, thank you.
It is a real privilege,
Oh my
an
gosh.
absolute privilege.
Oh my gosh, I have to
So-
take good care of this.
And Charlotte, thank you so much. We a little birdie told us that you would want something a little bit different, so you get Starbucks. So thank you again, Tessa. We can turn that off. Okay, so we would like